All right. So if we're not enough, don't use the C word, cracker boy. Actually, it's funny. I had never been in my life. I've only been called cracker once. I've actually been called the word. I'm not even gonna say what letter it is because it is the sacred word. I'm afraid to even say what letter it is. I've been called that 30 times in my life.
Oh, I've been called it
Yeah,
hundreds of times.
hundreds of times, right? So we are being called that sacred word that I won't even say the letter of.
I consider it a
Far more than
compliment.
this.
I consider it a compliment when the letter after M, starts out my designation.
Don't even get
Well,
near.
I can't even say the letter
Don't
now.
even get no.
It's like
Can't.
it's like spelling walk in front of a dog that's really smart.
Yeah,
You know, you
no,
get in
don't
trouble.
even. But now this cracker, cracker boy.
The origins for cracker, I go over in here. There's conflicting ideas on where the term came from.
That's
and
right.
I'm of the opinion that it came from various different sources. The oldest one seems to be the Gaelic term for the sound he whip makes.
Right.
And it was used to disparage people who were being whipped and describe them. It was used to describe the person that did the whipping. And it was also used in the British Isles and in northern Florida to describe the person that did the whipping of cattle and drove them. So it could mean cow herd.
Yeah.
It could mean slave. It could mean slave driver. There's also a good case to be made that it comes from the same source as cracking a joke, which is to get lively in conversation and humorous when you've been drinking liquor that's made out of cracked corn.
I always thought it was literally was like, oh, you a cracker, like the way like a cracker, the color of a cracker. That's what I thought it was.
Well, the saltines, and
right.
There was a Negro League ball team called the Atlanta Crackers, because it comes from the sound of the bat cracking the ball. So the relationship between the saltine and the American and European descent, that's probably retrospective and just a way of looking back and trying to figure it out. So there's liquor, or is it eating cracked corn and having pellagra and thus being a redneck? Is it from? It's probably from all these sources,
right?
And they probably feed on each other.
Yeah.
In like the swirling eddy of identification.
I'll read, for example, I'm going to read a classic character on the road. I'm going to read something from the Pennsylvania Gazette, 1765. So we're getting close to the Revolution, right? In Philadelphia. Runaway on the 16th instant from John Faries, a servant man named Edward Carlo, but has changed his name to Collins and may go by some other name. He is a spry fellow and wears his hat soldier-like on his right eye, has a brown wig, red hair, white eyebrows, freckles on the back of his hands, is about 5 feet 6 inches, wore a brown coat, blue velvet jacket, red or brown breeches, commonly wore white thread or black silk stockings, walks fast when he travels, speaks good English. Why would he not speak English? Pretends to have 2 uncles in New London, both ministers, says he has a small estate in Ireland. Oh, he's lying, obviously. And is well beloved amongst the women. Right? Whoever secures said servant in any gaol in the province, so I guess jail is how they pronounce it, so that his master may have him again, shall have £3 reward. That's it. And if out of the province, £5 paid by me, John Faries. Wait, I'm not done. Okay. NB, right? What does NB stand for? What is it? Note: all masters of vessels and others are forbid to harbor or carry them off, as they may expect to be proceeded against as the law directs. So we mentioned here, at least one Irish heir was sold in slavery, and his case was in court at the time of this advertisement. So it seems likely that this runaway's claims, very similar to James Annesley's circumstances, were inspired by actual events in Ireland and England. An example that Collins trafficked in much fiction, making his way in a slave society. You want to say something?
Oh, well, you could tell this guy had been in the military.
Right.
And he's got white eyebrows.
All right. So we'll read another one of these horrible Irishmen trying to welch out of their deal. Right.
Where does that come from?
Oh,
The
yeah.
Welsh were getting rounded up before
Oh,
that.
look, has a sour look. That sounds like somebody we know. Nicholas Coffey, age 25, once a sailor, once a soldier, twice a slave. Okay, so February 20th, 1766, right, the Pennsylvania Gazette, right, £2 reward. Runaway on Sunday night, last from the subscriber living in East Whiteland, Chester County. I know where that is. A servant man named Nicholas Coffey, born in Ireland, about 25 years of age, tall and slender, long-visaged, has a sour look, of a sandy complexion, and lisps a little. Had on a boy-fine hat, that must be a hat of the time, half-worn, light-colored fustian coat, blue jacket with metal buttons, a brown camblet, what the hell, under jacket, the back ripped old white shirt, leather breeches, white yarn stockings, the top of one of them old and half-worn shoes and buckles. Right? He served a time in Philadelphia, has been since at sea, likewise campaigning. Okay, is acquainted in most parts of this province, and may thereby the better pass for a free man. How dare he? He has at times the third day ague. Okay, I'm gonna look into that. The fit coming on him in the evening, and is a remarkable liar. Bastard. Whoever secures the said servant so as his master may have him again shall have the above reward with reasonable charges from Richard Richardson. Richie Rich. And so the ague here is malarial fever. Many British troops were lost to the malaria and yellow fever during operations in the West Indies immediately after the French and Indian War. So this is during the 7 Years' War, right? So he was just campaigning in that. All right. So, all right. Well, for risking his life for the empire, he should be made a slave and worked to death.
Now, I can tell you that stumbling through, as we do, the list of clothing and what they were, I'm still not clear on a lot of it. I am indebted to a lady, I forget her name. She was a historian of clothing. She made clothing for reproductions, for living history places, and people that are into like muzzleloader type people that want to dress up. The dozens, I think it's more than that, but at least dozens of the runaway ads I found because she was posting them on her site to explain the clothing. So I did get some explanations from her, but I was, as a fashion criminal myself in this period, I wasn't really that interested in the clothing. Yeah. So when I go back and write a novel, said here, if I do a third novel, I will have to go back and use her descriptions of the clothing to make sure I get things right. The fustian coats I think they were made out of the Ozenbrig material, which was a really rough, irritating material that they would dress the servant men in. Pants and shirts, and the shirts would drive people crazy. And the pant, shirt, and jacket and coat were all made out of this same really rough canvas-like material, and it had the effect of a prison uniform. Yeah. People would immediately see you and know what you were. So after a while, the only thing they got left from the clothing they got shipped in would be an overcoat or a jacket. The shirt, they'd rather go bare-chested.
Yeah, no, I can imagine.
And it was a cold period in history. There was some... I forget it was the Dalton minimum or the Maunder minimum. One of those happened in the 1700s. Yeah. It was extremely cold.
Yeah. See, I'll round this out with two more because these are interesting, right? A tolerable good scholar, right? An Irish servant man named Henry Crown, May 22nd, 1766, the Pennsylvania Gazette. Run from the subscriber living near Newcastle on Sunday night. Last the 18th of this instant May, an Irish servant man named Henry Cowan, about 24 years of age, dark complexion, about 5 feet 6 inches high, pretty fat. So, had on when he went away a light blue serge coat, nankeen jacket and breeches, white linen shirt, white thread stockings, new pumps, and wears his own black hair. Came from Ireland last fall in the ship Marquis of Granby, right? Captain McIlvaine, as he is a tolerable good scholar. Of course, you mentioned here in the notes, Nanking, right, is a yellowish or buff-colored cotton cloth that takes its name from the Chinese city of Nanking, which used to be the capital where it originated. This goes some way towards explaining the presence of yellow Negroes, Chinese, and slaves from India in the American plantations, a dozen ports of call in a global trade network. And just finishing here. He may forge a pass, because he could probably read and write, perhaps from under the captain hand. Whoever takes up and secures said servant, so his master may have him again. Shall have £5 reward. So this guy was worth more than the other two guys. Shall have £5 reward and reasonable charges paid by Matthew Cannon. Right now, as usual, you masters of vessels are forbidden to carry him off at their peril. Or I have a feeling a lot of those dudes didn't give a shit. They were like, yeah, what the fuck you gonna do? And I'll round it out because it's the time of the woman now. The women are better than us. She will be sold, right? So we got here Isabelle Beard, the slave girl. Ooh. April 24th, 1766, man. They were as soon as they got a little warmer out, they were running, huh? It's still freezing cold in April, but all right, so the Pennsylvania Gazette, Lancaster, look, Lancaster, with the R, April 15th, 1766, was committed to my custody. On the 11th of this, was it on suspicion, institution, was it IN, instance, I think that's what that's for, on suspicion. I like how they capitalize some of the words, even though
Yeah, well, it's shorthand because you had to pay for every letter.
Okay.
One of these ads.
Okay.
So the style coming from the newspaper ads and announcements, even if we were going to do, I would challenge you in a newspaper. You want to capitalize not just names, but anything of importance, so you don't have to, qualify it with another phrase.
All right, so she's on suspicion of a runaway servant, a girl who calls herself Isabelle Beard. She was born in Ireland and came in the snow pit above 2 years ago. She's about 4 feet 8 inches high, very thick-set, had on when committed a blue stuff gown, striped linsey petticoat and bedgown, old shoes and stockings. She says she belongs to a certain William Grimes, a jobber. What are you, a jobber, jabroni? And a late of York County, where she says she left him. Her master, therefore, if any she has, is hereby desired to come, pay her charges, and take her away. Otherwise, she will be sold for her fees by Matthias Boog, the jailer. Right? So that's interesting. So this woman is she hasn't run away. She has been caught and is in the jail.
Right.
And they're basically saying, yeah, come find this bitch, or we're gonna sell her. Right? Damn.
Well, the Indians would like her. She's only 4'8" and she's fat.
Yeah.
Where'd you go?
Establishment historians would have us believe she was not a slave. She's not a slave. Right? On suspicion of being a runaway, one could be jailed and then sold for the jailing fee. And this was not slavery, not a slave state, but a land of freedom and opportunity. Right? Yeah. What is I hate to say this, and this is, I'm gonna say it again, and you're like, oh, because you're of continental stock, so you like to rip on the Anglo world, the Anglosphere, but the Anglo concept of freedom is the freedom to exploit your lessers. Okay, I'm not a communist, you know that, but that's essentially what that is. I'm sorry. Anyway.
And liberty was to beat them when you want it.
Yeah.
Basically, liberty meant you could beat the crap out of your human property.
Right. You know what? I got another time. I want to do one more. Okay. Now we have Walter and Winford Pritchard, enslaved married couple, escaped from their master. Right. So July 3rd, 1766. July 4th doesn't exist yet. There's no meaning to it. Pennsylvania Gazette. £5 reward. Went away from the subscriber, a servant man and woman named Walter and Winford Pritchard. The man is a tailor to trade and cannot do any other work. The woman is a stave maker and very handy at housework. They both speak good English. Why would they not speak good English? But low. They're low. And they take snuff and they love liquor. So they must be Irish. The man is 5 feet 7 inches high, black hair, gray eyes. The woman is but of low stature, pretty likely has black eyes and black hair. As they came lately from Ireland, their clothes are but ordinary and probably have changed them. Whoever secures them in any jail on this continent and lets me know in the public paper of this province shall have the above reward for both, or 50 shillings for either. I hear the man is listed and has taken his wife with him to Fort Pitt. All gentlemen of the army are forbid to list or harbor them, and captains of vessels to carry them off at their peril. Henry Neale. Now, that's interesting. A lot of dark-haired, short Irish people.
And threatening the military.
Right, threatening. So I think these are descended of like the original inhabitants of Ireland.
When they say lusty, that means that the guy, this dude's going to like grab your daughter and have sex with her.
Hi, your kids. Hi, your wife.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they have that sometimes in a woman too, but likely means that it's somebody that you could talk into doing something kind of risky.
Okay. All right, we're done. Cool.